Howdy, folks. Welcome to Worldwide Python Communities, where we learn from organizers in Zimbabwe, Indonesia, and South Korea. I'm Dan Mouris. I'm your host, and I'm super excited about this because I'm a Python meetup organizer in Edmonton, Alberta. And with us, we have Younggun Kim, we have Marlene Mhangami, and we have Dima Dinama. So if I could just ask you folks if you could tell us a bit about yourselves and about the conferences that you've led and some of the initiatives that you've been a part of, just to introduce yourself. Start with Marlene.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Dan. My name is Marlene, and I am from Zimbabwe. I am a member of the Python community here locally in Harare, and I'm also a part of the PSF Board of Directors. I'm currently the Vice Chair and also the Chair of the new Diversity and Inclusion Group, which I'm very excited about. Something else about me is that I am also the Chair currently of PyCon Africa, and I'm trying to think of yes, I'm also the co-founder of Zimbabwe, which is a nonprofit organization that tries to teach girls coding in Python and get them excited about computer programming. So yeah, that's pretty much me.
Thank you. Dima?
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Dima Dinama. I'm from Indonesia. So, the first time I'm organizing PyCon is at 2019 in Surabaya. That is also my first PyCon, and I got the chance to give some lightning talks there. And then, right after Surabaya time, the next year, I was chosen to become the lead organizer for PyCon ID 2020, and that is our fourth PyCon and the first online PyCon in Indonesia. I also support Bandung Pi, the city Bandung where I live from, in Python communities, and we also have some online meetups with other regions also.
Awesome. Thank you. Younggun?
Hi, this is Younggun from Seoul. So I started PyCon Korea 6 years ago, I guess. And also I'm helping PyCon APAC to organize their, Pan-Asian PyCons in several countries. And I also started a small initiative that helping new contributors to involve in open source development. So we called it Sprint Seoul. So we organize regular sprints in Seoul. And yeah, I was in board member of Python Software Foundation, and I'm also a fellow member of the PSF. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So one of the first questions that I have is, what was your path in becoming a leader or an organizer of your meetups and conferences in your respective communities? And this time we'll start with Younggun.
Well, it's all of a sudden. So one of my friends he told me about the PyCons. So at the moment, I didn't aware of any PyCons. So it was very interesting that the conference, big conference, is organized by community. So at the time, so in South Korea, there's several tech conferences by big tech companies. So it was very interesting and sounds challenging to me. So I started organizing PyCon small with very small attendees. But at the moment, I have no idea how to organize the tech conferences. So I traveled neighbor countries to learn how to organize their own conference. So yeah, that's basically how I start organizing PyCons here.
Nice. That's pretty neat.
Cool.
Dima?
Okay. I think the first PyCon is held at my college in 2017, but I couldn't make it because I have to get some other jobs for my projects. But the 2 years later, uh, PyCon came again to my college city, but it's not really in my college. It's like another college. And then I didn't want to lose this chance, so I suddenly asked to join the organizing community, and they accept me. It's really fun to have people giving conference, giving talks. Like it really helps about. It's not only for the Python language that I learned, but it's also like another network. And
Hmm.
then suddenly for the next year, we have like Telegram chats for uh, Python ID community, and they asked me to become the lead organizer
Nice.
for last year.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
that's awesome. Great.
Um, so for me, I would say, well, it depends which one, but maybe let me start by talking about PyCon Africa. So for me, I started by attending a bunch of PyCons around Africa. The first conference that I went to was here in Zimbabwe locally. And I actually went to the first PyCon Zimbabwe. I think this was a couple of years ago. I don't know how many years ago this was. And it was when I was just first getting introduced to Python, and I felt like it was super, super beneficial. And I met so many people who are so friendly, and it was just really fun. So
Yeah.
then after that, I went to a bunch of other PyCons. I think I went to PyCon Namibia, PyCon Nigeria, PyCon Ghana, and PyCon South Africa, and really, really enjoyed those conferences. And then something that I started to notice was like at every conference that I would go, I would see like a bunch of the same people as well there
Yeah.
at those
Yeah.
conferences, like coming from their own countries and maybe visiting these other conferences there. And we would always just be like, it would be really great if we could make sure that we had like an annual Pan-African conference
Yeah.
where we could meet, because there's already, I mean, there's PyCon US and there's PyCon Europe and there's APAC as well. And there were all these other great conferences, and we were just like, it would be really cool to have that for Africa. And so we started talking about this, and we talked about it for quite some time. But I think, I felt like I should do it. Like I
Yeah.
felt like I should be the one that should do it, should like start the organization process and
Yeah.
actually put some structure in place. But I think it took me like a full year before I decided
Yeah.
that I was going to do it.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
fantastic. Oh, sorry.
yeah, so then I did, and that was it. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, that kind of just leads me to my next question of just like, if there was a specific moment that was like, hey, I can do this for my community, and it would be so awesome to have one of these PyCons locally. I know that all of you have organized PyCons, so was there that moment for you folks just to kind of inspire the next kind of generation of organizers?
I think for me, because I joined PyCon community when I was just a college student. Like in my last year, my final project is about Python, so I have to attend my college. I mean, I study in Surabaya in East Java, Indonesia. There's Surabaya Pi, some communities called Surabaya Pi. They have like 2 months or 3 months meetups, and I like to join it because I get a new information, a new knowledge, and a new connection by coming there. But when I graduate, I came back to my city in Bandung, but there's no Python community. But I know there's a lot of students like me, or there's a lot of tech enthusiasts like me that they love Python, but they want to meet up, but there's no Python community in Bandung. So me and my friend who was also attending PyCon 2019 try to make Bandung Pi for the for the first time,
Nice.
and we have our first meetup in 2020 1 years ago, and from that we both of us is also we try to say let's hold PyCon in our city in
Yeah.
Bandung, but you know pandemic came and we need to hold it online. It's like that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. maybe if we could go to Younggun next and then go back to
Yeah.
Marlene.
So around 2 decades ago, I started a Linux community in South Korea. So at the moment, Linux is very minor OS. So the community have each other. So they have how to install, how to troubleshoot an issue they may face during installation and using it. So I found that the community, so the importance of community. So as a developer, as an engineer, so we can learn from community. So that's I think that's the very important thing, as you know, for your engineer or developer career. So at the when I started the PyCon in Korea, there's so many Pythonistas in my countries, but there's no one big community or a conference. So I want to share about my experience in Linux community. So as I mentioned earlier, so there's some friends who helped me to organize PyCons in my countries. So they just share their knowledge, know-how about organizing conferences. So actually, it's really very it was really surprising experience because I was totally strangers. I just traveled to their PyCons and hey, organizers, I want to learn how you guys organize the conference. But they literally share all the information with me. So like how the budget listings and how to literally everything. So it was really very unique experience. So I I just travel other countries where there's no PyCons and hey, there's some PyCons. You guys start this one for your countries.
Yeah.
So actually that's how I travel a lot of countries in Asia and introduce PyCons there.
That's fantastic. That sounds a little bit like what hopefully a lot of people here are doing is just traveling around and getting some Pythons, even though right now we're just traveling virtually, so everybody can attend, so that's good.
Yeah.
All right. And Marlene, if you could share as well.
I guess I touched on it a little bit in terms of I was going to a bunch of different conferences. I would say maybe the two that really stand out in my mind are one, PyCon Ghana. When I went to the first PyCon Ghana, it was really cool because Ghana I feel was so interesting in terms of I feel like the community there is so strong. And the PyLadies group in Ghana is just fantastic, and they were so welcoming. I feel when we went there, and there were so many people from other parts of the world that also decided to come for that conference. And it wasn't like a really big conference, but it was really well organized, and the swag was really great. I still have the swag, and it was really unique in terms of even the Africanness of it. It was very, very cool. I really enjoyed it. So I think that really stood out to me. And then when I was in PyCon Namibia as well, there were a lot of people talking about how PyCon Namibia, which was I think it was the first, outside of PyCon South Africa, it was the second African PyCon.
Yeah.
And when I was there, I remember people sharing about how much they had been impacted by this conference and how they really were able to connect with the global Python community. And I remember Anna and Humphrey actually came, they're the ones that started PyCon Zimbabwe. And Anna is now the president, I think, of the DSF, which is very cool. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And they had actually gotten the idea to start PyCon Zimbabwe from visiting PyCon Namibia. And so I think even just being there and just experiencing and learning from other people, seeing how they were learning Python and what they were doing with it, I think I learned a lot that it's not just a scripting language, that you can do a lot more with it. was really helpful. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, that sounds great. So another thing that I think would be nice to touch on, since this is from worldwide communities, and I just remember in one of your talks, Marlene, where you spoke about the dance party at the end of one of the conferences, and
Right.
I was wondering if you folks could highlight maybe something that's different, or maybe something that we could bring to PyCascades or PyCon US or even PyCon Canada to that is different that in your conferences that you haven't seen here.
Well, I mean, I feel like there was a dance party yesterday. Was there a dance party? I feel like there was a DJ. I saw it. It was
Yeah.
too late for me to stay up and try and make it. But that was cool that there was a DJ there. I love dancing. I think dancing should be at all PyCons.
Yeah.
But
I
I'm
agree
trying to
with
think
that.
if there's like, exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I would add to that. I think there was I know for PyCon Africa, we had a day before the conference where we had like a tour of the city where you were in. Like there was an organized tour, which I really, really enjoyed that because you kind of learn more about the place that you're in.
Yeah.
And then also I feel as well, it was nice there was also like an organizers meetup. So it
Okay.
was like a workshop because we were trying through PyCon Africa as well to kind of to help scale to help more Python conferences happen across the continent. We had a workshop right at the beginning of the conference where anyone that was interested from different African countries in learning how to run a Python conference was invited to that workshop, and we were able to kind of show them, okay, this is kind of how we did this, and it's very possible for you to do the same thing. Yeah.
That's fantastic. What about you folks, Dima and Younggun?
I think the so what the first thing one of the first thing we think about PyCon is the swag, right?
Yeah.
So my friends, like, it's only 3 to 5 people in our organizer that have gone to overseas PyCon, then and they get swag from Korea, from Japan, and the other guys from Indonesia is also love to have PyCon swags because the last years, I mean the 2019 swag is having a high positive feedback because it got a very good swag and everybody likes it. So we think about how about an online conference? How can we send the swag, because right? And then we get to have the swag like 2 weeks before the conference. We already send it to our participants. So we hope
Nice.
that they can have their swag, like they can use it like on the day conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Indonesia is like it's very big, like
Yeah.
there's some just in Indonesia there's like 5 island, so it gets it can get to 1 week just for shipping to from Java Island to Papua Island,
Oh
1 week
wow.
or more. So we have to prepare it 2 weeks before,
Yeah,
and
that's
we
cool.
send everything there. It have a positive vibes because when we ask some, so we make like a little room and just turn on your camera, and some people is also like taking their swag picture and mention us on Instagram, on Twitter. We
Perfect.
retweet it. It really gave a good vibe. And
Yeah,
other
that's
thing
great
that I
vibes.
want to have is we have like a quiz. You know, like online quiz,
Yep.
just like Kahoot or Slides. So we can have quiz remotely, and the three biggest score, we're gonna send a bonus swag like a
Nice.
days and 2 days after. I think it's very fun to have the
Yeah,
swag because
that's
it's
absolutely
not
fun to have.
that's not only talking about Python programming language, because we also talk about fun stuff about the organizer,
Yeah,
about the
absolutely.
community. it's really fun.
Yeah, I think that sending out swag. I mean, that's what we're all here for. So that's
Yeah.
always fun. What about you, Younggun?
Well, I have to say in PyCon Korea, you can find your name on a big name wall. So we have like
Ooh.
20, 30 meters long, big name wall. So we put all the attendees' name on the wall. So on the first day of the PyCon Korea, the people is, standing, on the wall, and they try to find their name on the wall. So that was one uniqueness of PyCon Korea. And uh, in PyCon Japan, so every second day of the PyCon, maybe first day, so after conference, there's a big, after party with,
Hmm.
Ah,
huge, set of, liquors like Japanese traditional one and a lot of different liquors there. So actually, that was that's the I like the most at PyCon Japan and PyCon Philippines. So like Marlene said, so they after the PyCon they have some tour so
Yep.
around the cities. That was really I enjoyed a lot.
That's awesome. That's that's awesome. We're all here to hopefully when we get all back in person, we can enjoy some of those events as well. I'm going to shift a little bit more about to questions that are more about being an organizer of a meetup and conference. So, I mean, you folks have done it. So, what is the most rewarding part about organizing conferences in your respective communities?
I think.
Maybe I'll start with
Uh,
Dima.
okay. The most rewarding things is not about because we are voluntarily so we are not making we are not joining organizing for money, right? Because we voluntarily did it. But of course, uh, we we are supposedly not to have to pay something because we also have sponsors to help us. Like, but the most rewarding is like having people to get some benefit from the conference, to make people happy, to make people learn more. I think that's something the most rewarding for me. Like
Nice.
after the conference done, so many people like thank you for having this conference. Thank you for giving me like those thank you is very valuable. Like for the 2 weeks I've been prepared for, like
Yeah.
I've been all up until the board. They are gone when they are saying thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
That is fun. Like oh my god, it's
Yeah.
so
Yeah. And anytime, I mean, we thank all of our organizers. So that's
yeah.
great. What about you, Youngam?
Well, most rewarding part is that so it's been almost 6, 7 years since I started PyCon Korea. So now I'm no longer, organizing PyCon Korea, my
Yeah.
own, but there's tens of, new organizers just, making conferences still. So actually watching that, good circulation of, organizing committee is very rewarding. So maybe, just little people knows me now. I mean, in
Yeah.
the PyCon Korea organizers,
Hmm.
but there's still, PyCon Korea.
Yeah.
So that's really rewarding to me.
Yeah. That's fantastic that you found kind of a successors, which is really
Yeah.
great. Fantastic. What about you, Marlene?
I think it's a mix of things, but I would say for sure like being able to provide a space for people to have opportunities is like I feel like really rewarding to me in terms of the fact that I think just that sense of community where I think one of the major benefits of a PyCon conference is that one, there's communal learning. So like everyone is getting to learn stuff and
Yeah.
like
Absolutely.
at like a really reasonable cost, I would say. And then also like access to opportunities like job opportunities and networking opportunities. And for me, like I love it when people like will say that, oh, I was at this conference and I met this person and it led to a job. or
Yeah.
it led to some sort of an internship, or I learned about open source for the first time, or something like that, is like very, very cool, I think. So
Yeah.
to me, I would say just, providing a space for people to access some form of opportunity is really cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. I know that's
Yeah.
something and avenues that open from conferences all the time. So, yeah, again, thank to all you folks that are organizing. But just to kind of, I know that this is something that's tough in my small meetup in our community. Is how do you folks deal with kind of organizing burnout? I mean, I know that like this is something that is really hard to deal with, and it's you put in a lot of time for these conferences, and that sometimes is overlooked. So, do you folks have strategies, or do you folks how do you folks deal with that? So, maybe I'll start with Younggun, who's done this for years and is a seasoned pro.
Well, actually, this is really difficult question, you know. So to be honest, I couldn't find any good solution for, this organizing burnout. But yeah, well, I think I just trying to find my successor, so that
Yeah.
you can, hand over your burden to other some, next person. So so that's yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like I'm in somewhat of the same boat. So that's definitely true. So, yeah. What about? Thank you so much as well. So, what about you, Dima?
I think most of us, like our communities, is some of our communities, like they have jobs in Python, like they have jobs in tech, and then they going meet up. They also talk about Python, talk about tech. So that is something that makes you burn out. Like it's on holiday, but you come to meet up and then you talk about something that maybe you're gonna use it on work, and you learn
Yeah,
something that you're gonna use it for your job. So,
yeah,
so our one of our community members is like they are they are going to like traveling together. They climbed a mountain last week.
oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. They climbed a mountain last week by using like their swag PyCon t-shirts,
Oh,
like
nice.
the PyCon hoodie, and then like in the top they looking at the stickers, take a photo. Like having a Python community is not. It doesn't mean that whenever you come to them, whenever you meet, you always have to talk about Python. You always talk
Yeah,
about something new. And no, you can do something like outside Python, but
yeah.
you can. We're still friends, even though we're not talking Python, right?
Yeah, exactly,
We
exactly.
can do something together.
Yeah, that's something that I've found. I mean, just kind of finding friends in the community and not necessarily talking about Python is always kind of,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
that's it.
great to talk about Python, but it's also great to just kind of make friends over there. And what about you, Marlene? I know that you've organized a few conferences and you probably have some expertise in this field.
Well, I think it's really difficult, to be honest. Like everyone has been saying, I would say for sure, like one, for sure, you have to have a good team. Like if you
Yeah.
like for me, I don't think I would have made it if my team was not so good. Like I can trust my team to be like, if I need a break, I can take a break and things won't fall apart because the team is there. And then I would say as well, like being able to check in with, for me, I try and be able to like check in with myself to be like, am I okay right now? Am I
Yeah.
able to handle this right now? Because, so this is not for organizing PyCon, but like I would say for my nonprofit, for Zimbabwe,
Yeah.
like I have had to take like, it's now like a year hiatus. It was supposed to be like a few months, but
Yeah.
it's now like a year hiatus of like, I just felt like I was doing too much. And,
Yeah.
I think just being honest with yourself as well, and not being afraid to be like, okay, I'm really tired and I'm just doing too much. So I need a break, and just also being okay with taking a break, I think, is really important for organizers.
Yeah.
And not to be like, I think that it's also allowing yourself to be okay with taking a break, and not to just like give up on something. Just say, I'm taking a
Yeah.
break.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you can always come back to it. So I think that, especially with volunteer work, it can sometimes, like, I feel like the guilt is there to be like, I have to organize everything. But just being kind to yourself, I think, is important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think that we can summarize that. I mean, we really need a good team. And I know that that's true for myself, for organizing. So hopefully for those aspiring organizers in the crowd right now, make sure that you surround yourself with people that you can trust and in that. So as well, there's a question from the crowd, and I'm going to kind of paraphrase it a bit. So I've heard that it's not so easy to get support from sponsors and authorities. So what are the challenges for that, and other challenges that you've had in organizing meetups and conferences in your communities?
Okay.
Shoot, Dima.
Well,
Okay.
Oh,
Great.
sorry.
Okay. Thank you. I think for sponsors, like it needs money to run some meetup because we are voluntarily do it, so it doesn't mean that we have to give money also to try to make a meetup. So we search for sponsors. But there's a time when there's absolutely no sponsors, but we need to make a meetup. So I think the funds from the previous events is not always used for all. So we can use the funds, and then if there's no sponsors available, we can use like donation, open donation. So we try it 1 or 2 times. Like we need to pay for the rent for the space, but we don't have the money for it. So we have the registration form, and there's some kind of how much tips you wanna give to the community. It's not mandatory, but it will help. So there's a lot of people that still
Yeah.
helps. So you don't need to
That's
worry about there's the to run meetups like low scale meetup. You don't need to worry about sponsor. There's always people want to help, but
yeah.
for big events like PyCon, of course it needs sponsors, but
Yeah.
there's where it gets more difficult. But if you have good tracks on PyCon before, the sponsors is also they come to us. It's not always that we search for them,
That's
but
great.
they come to us.
That's
Just
that's
like
fantastic.
that, just like last PyCon, there's a lot of sponsors that come to us without we. It's not that we
Yeah.
don't search anything. Like it's just like that.
Yeah, fantastic. Maybe I'll pass it on to Marlene next.
oh, right. So I would say that's a really challenging thing. I think, I think in the past, sponsorship has been really hard. I would say particularly for Zimbabwe, for the Zimbabwean Python community, of which I'm not one of the main organizers. I'm not like on the organizing team for PyCon Zimbabwe, but like
Yeah.
it's been very difficult because Zimbabwe is sanctioned.
Yeah.
That causes a whole cascade of different issues with sponsorship, I would say, from outside of the country. But I would say definitely like what Dima was saying, doing crowdfunding and things like that has been really helpful. For example, even for PyCon Africa, the first PyCon that we had, the first version of PyCon Africa that we had, we wanted to increase the amount of financial aid that we could give to help people travel from across the continent. And so we did get some sponsorship, but we didn't get like as much as we wanted to. So we then decided to do a crowdfunding initiative and ask people to just give to the conference to be able to allow us to send people. And it was really cool because like we had people from, like, on the organizing team, we had people from Europe and like
Yeah.
different places of the world. And so, and I went to PyCon US as well that year. So like when we were there, we were like pitching it to everyone and being like, please give money to us so that more people can come. So I think that's also nice to like also get support from the community, because the community is also really, really supportive. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And yeah, what about you, Younggun? I mean, you've had so much experience running. I mean, 5 or 6 PyCon Koreas. So how did you folks kind of deal with this?
Well, I guess so. Like Dima said, since we had a good track record, then it isn't that difficult to find a sponsor. So
There you go.
but yeah, but we also always want to minimize the dependency, so that we can, kind of flexible organizing, the financially flexibility. So every year, so if I remember correctly, every year PyCon Korea increased the ticket price every year a little bit,
Nice.
so that yeah, all the community members pays some sort of the conference, so that we can have enough budget for the conference, so that we can minimize sponsor budgets. So that's actually, yeah, the managing the financial stuffs are really always difficult, because I'm not as a organizer, we are not really good at financial accounting and everything. So yeah, so managing financial flexibility is always a challenging thing.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you all for your answers on that, and hopefully that answers that question from the crowd here. So I'd like to shift, just because we've got a little bit of time here, to kind of like the last year experiences. And I know that Dima, I think it was your first time organizing a conference in remote, but what solutions have you folks come up to kind of stick together and get together? I know that's super challenging. So maybe I'll start with Dima's experience there on kind of doing that for the first time. I feel like that's a double curveball, but
Yeah.
how would you do that?
Yeah, that's my first time. And I mean that's my second time being an organizer for PyCon, and then being a leader, and then you got the COVID, it's really hard
Ugh.
for me. But actually, the solution is not always come from me. Just because you are the leader, it doesn't mean that you have to think about it alone. So I get a lot of support from my friend, from my others organizer, that they give me suggestion, like what about to have like a weekly meeting, to and then use something platform to keep track of what things to do, what things have
Yeah.
done, like that. And then that really helps me. And actually, although I'm the leader, uh I think that it's not really giving me a lot of burden for the last year's PyCon.
Yeah.
It just it we all disappointed because it has to be held online,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, everyone of us preferably to have offline PyCon, but
Yeah.
there's nothing we can do about it. And the most thing is about to keep connected with your organizer, even though
Yeah.
all of us on weekday we got a lot of jobs, but on the weekend or we back then we have like Sunday evening for the weekly meetups.
Yeah.
It really keep you the track of what to do, what next to do. It really helps to have weekly meeting. I
Yeah.
think that's the most important thing for me.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's weekly meetings. That's always good to get that human contact. Maybe I'll just pass it on to Younggun. I mean, how have you folks been sticking together in this kind of weird, turbulent time?
Well, actually, recently I had a call with other PyCon organizers, like they're from PyCon Philippines, So before the COVID, I travel. Yeah, we can travel to each other's PyCons, so we can meet there. But we could meet there, but now it's not possible. But I don't know why, but we just haven't talked. So we arrange a online hangout call and just sharing the uh, the stories and PyCon APEC. So I'm saying about the PyCon APEC. PyCon
Yeah.
APEC, the countries, member countries are using different languages and different cultures, and so many members are have their own PyCon organizing team. But as a PyCon APEC member, we have to communicate each other. But so yeah, there's no very brilliant creative solution, but just having check-ins regularly. So
Yeah.
yeah, using email or whatever,
Whatever
platforms.
communication method.
Yeah,
can-
or
Yeah.
yeah.
That's it's been tough for sure. I'm glad that you folks have kind of caught up and got back together in recent weeks. So, and what about you, Marlene? How have you folks been sticking together?
Well, we actually last year we also had, it was our second conference and we also had it online, the second version of it. And that was a really tough decision, to be honest, because I wasn't sure if like we really discussed in terms of whether or not we should have the conference last year online, just because like I would say that the connection issues are a lot in Africa. I'm just like live streaming a conference on the continent of Africa. Or maybe not all parts of Africa, but like in many parts of Africa, like you could do it easy in South Africa or in like one country, but like Pan-Africanly trying to stream a conference is a challenge. But we decided to still do it. And we, I think it went successfully. We actually, the playlist is online if you want to check it out on PyCon Africa's YouTube channel.
Yeah, shout out.
Thank
It's
you.
there.
Go check it out.
But go check it out today. But it's there, and I think that it went well, but it was definitely a lot more challenging. It was very, very stressful, I would say. And definitely it wasn't as interactive as I would have liked, but it definitely, I think, was still good because we were still able to connect with the community. And then in terms of like our core organizing team, yeah, we tried to meet fairly regularly last year, and we also have been trying to meet regularly this year. We just actually met last week, I think,
That's perfect.
to discuss, like the plans for the year. And I think, again, everyone is in such different situations as well, because some countries are really doing amazingly right now, and COVID is almost non-existent. Whereas in like other countries, like my country, we've been in lockdown for like 2 months, so things are not going well. So we will see. I think it's just about, we're trying to figure out how to move things forward, how to stay connected. We want to do more member meetings and utilize more virtual opportunities and things like that. So we will see, but we are trying to keep connected over Slack. We have a Slack channel. So that's pretty much what we've been doing.
That's fantastic. I know that it's been super tough. I mean, even for us who in Edmonton. So it's thank you so much for your insights on this, and it kind of leads me hopefully to a better time in the future of and kind of what you've learned from this. Is there anything from this time that you're going to integrate into meetups when we can all meet in person? I mean, I know that for us, we ran a little bit of a challenge for Advent of Code, one of the meetups, and I found that really worked. So probably going to integrate that. But I was wondering if you folks have something like that you learned that you're like, wow, this is actually awesome, and I'm gonna bring this in. Start with maybe Dima.
Okay. Uh, I don't really think it's a very difficult question for me because
Yeah.
uh for us like it's been a year since we it's been it's been a year since the pandemic came and we still can hold something offline regularly.
Yeah.
And then what can we do about this? The thing that I got from having an online conference is there are some people from outside island because
Yeah.
Indonesia is, have five main islands and Java is the most little one.
Yeah.
And like there are some people like 1,000 kilometer apart, 1,000 2,000 kilometer apart that can connect each other. Even we are doing remotely, and I think in the next PyCon, whether it's gonna be held online or offline, we still need to give them a chance
Mm-hmm.
to enjoy their conference. Whether
Yeah.
it's I think it's I don't remember, but there's something called hybrid conference. So there's
Yeah.
an offline conference, but they also provide some talks online. So
Yeah.
there are other because for Indonesian, like the transportation cost is it costs a lot. It
Yeah.
costs like half of your monthly revenue just for you know
Yeah.
flight from Kalimantan to Java. It's really
Yeah.
expensive though. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That
That.
that's what help people for not joining conference because it always held in Java.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Perfect.
that's thing what I can do for the next year PyCon.
That's awesome. And just extending more inclusivity to Python has always been our strong suit. So it's always great to hear. What about you, Marlene or Younggun?
Well,
Oh, go ahead, Younggun.
thank you. The one thing I heard from, PyCon attendees, they complained about the virtual PyCons that's kind of missing, fun part of PyCon. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all, giving talks. So I think so since this is second year of, having online PyCon, so
Mm-hmm.
I think we better consider what we can, provide that, fun part of PyCon to
Yeah.
the audience. So, but so still, yeah, still considering there's no specific,
Mm-hmm.
example that I can share right now. But the conference PyCon is not, just, giving talks and sharing knowledges, but
Mm-hmm.
also, networking and hanging out with friends. So
Yeah.
I think we should consider that part as well.
Yeah. That's definitely true. Um, yeah. I mean, hanging out with friends. I think that we all long for that. But yeah, that's definitely something to integrate. But what about you, Marlene?
I would say that I've really liked the fact that we have like there's so much diversity in online conferences,
Yeah.
like global diversity. The fact that
Yeah.
I'm here and PyCascades,
Yeah.
is just amazing, and I feel like I would love to see more of that
Mm-hmm.
in like the actual conferences going forward, whether
Yeah.
that's like just people more having more sort of virtual sessions as well where people can
Yeah.
call in. I've really enjoyed being able to sort of listen to different perspectives and like I don't know, just see people from different places is nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so yeah, I think that's a part of it of the virtual space that has been really cool, and I would like to continue with that for sure.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Well, we're just at 10 minutes left here, so I kind of want to ask just some general questions about just to kind of wrap things up. And I mean, if you folks had to summarize kind of how organizing and even speaking at these conferences helped you gain confidence in your own coding, in your own professional life, and your communication as a whole. So Yeah, if we could hear that, that would be fantastic. I mean, I'd love to hear it. So
I think I'd like to bring up our PyCon I did theme last year. It's called Connect, Collab, and Contribute because it's really a good theme for me because it it really define us that we can connect everywhere we are. We can collaborate even though we are not seeing each other, and then there's always thing that we can contribute. From that time, I gain a lot of confidence to try to connect with other people. That there's always people, uh, there's always people that's better than me. There's a good people that I can connect with. There's something that I can collaborate to make my coding experience better. And
yeah,
then about the contribute, like I really learned a lot from our last keynote speaker that you can always contribute to Python community. Even though uh, it's not always about coding, but there's always ways
yeah,
for you to contribute. I think
yeah. I
that's
definitely agree with
give
that.
me confidence. Like no matter how small, it is still contribution for you.
Yeah, that's a great thought. I mean, I definitely agree that there's always a way to contribute. Oh, I think that we were supposed to wrap up at 12:45. Or my apologies here. So, I mean, I think I'll wrap it up there unless Marlene and Younggun, you want to slip something in quick.
I don't know. Do we have? Well, I will say that I would say that I have benefited from being in rooms where like the technical discussion is like slightly above my
Yeah,
pay grade or above my head, because it actually makes me learn faster. So that's like that's what I would say.
perfect,
I,
perfect.
yeah.
And you, Younggun?
Yeah. So, oh, yeah. So is it right still?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I was in my own country. So I born in Seoul and grew up in, Korea. But traveling different countries and just broaden my, world. So it expect just, expand my, world literally. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I mean, I just want to give such a special thank you to all of you. I mean, we're all in completely different time zones, and I know that some of you are staying up late, some of you are staying up or waking up early. So just a special thank you to Marlene, Dima, and Younggun. Thank you so much. And yeah, hopefully we can all check out their conferences. And as for people here at PyCascades, coming up next is an exciting talk. We've got introducing the Farm Stack, which is Fast API, React, and MongoDB with Aaron Bassett. So thanks again, folks, and I look forward to seeing you at the next talk.
see you.
Thank you.
Bye.